I was international architects and like doing some really amazing and inspiring work. But you hear more of Western architects in everywhere, and you don't really hear so much about the celebration of Indian architecture per se. And the only thought that was there was that why is it that we do not like celebrate, wear it on a sleeve, and say that this is who we are, and we want to like really like show it. Talk about the basic things about like when you talk about films, which have a serious impact on the exactly all the duets, everything is in Switzerland. Like why? I think the question was, will we still build the same way that we're building right? Can we go ahead in the future and sculpt landscapes like ants do? I feel really bad about the profession is that basically he takes all your headaches.
Do you recruit a lot of interns?
I wouldn't say a lot. We do get a lot of applications, but at a time we take about 5 to 6 interns.
And what do you look for in that resume when you get them on board?
Attitude. I tell them like every time, how's the guy, how's the vibe?
Yeah.
Like okay, and do ask them what are their hobbies.
And do you think AI will ever replace architects?
No, it can't.
No. Hi everyone, welcome to No Idea Whatsoever. Today I have with me architect Monish, who has represented India on a global forum for his innovation and efforts. Please welcome him and listen to everything he has to say about architecture, how it can change the world, and how it can really impact our lives. Hi Monish, welcome to No Idea Whatsoever.
Hi.
It's really good to have you here, and thank you for taking out time from your very, very busy schedule. I'm sure you're amidst multiple projects.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk to you about, I've been like listening to what you're doing, and I thought this is going to be a great conversation to start with.
Thank you. So, my first question is, as the podcast suggests, did you have any idea what you were going to do when you grew up, or did you have no idea whatsoever?
I would say that definitely no idea. When I started, even architecture for me was, it was a happy guess, and I would say a lucky accident that happened.
Okay.
So while I really wanted to, I picked it by choice, but I had no idea what architecture really was. So some accidents are meant to be good.
Yeah, and destined, absolutely.
Yeah.
But how did you think of architecture? Like, was there anything that made you feel like, yes, this is what I want to pursue?
When I was a kid, I was good at multiple things to start with. I mean, I've been probably an hyperactive kid with into sports.
Yeah.
I was into. I was really good at math.
Okay.
I was really good at computers. Very bad at languages.
Okay.
And social sciences. And these were not my. I mean, I was good. I mean, I used to be definitely doing well in education, but these subjects, the sciences and maths, were something I used to really enjoy.
Okay.
And so I was preparing for IIT, and then I was preparing for some other competitive exams. Then one random day, math teacher comes to us, like, when we are filling this form, and said, okay, there is something called architecture in which it requires your math.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy drawing and designing, you should go for it.
Okay.
And for me, at that point of time, that was architecture.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, I'm good at both. I love drawing, and I'm also good at math. I said, why not? I'm going to
amalgamate the two.
I'm going to just apply for this, actually an entrance exam for these two.
Okay.
And without any formal training no formal training for this particular exam.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let me go, and I got a good rank, and then life changed after that. So yeah.
So where did you grow up? Where did you study?
I'm born and brought up in Vijayawada.
Okay.
And because I came to Delhi for my bachelor's education, and last 20 years I've been here.
Okay.
So since my bachelor's, I came here, and then I continued staying here. So yeah.
That must have been quite a cultural shift for you, because usually I think people who move are not big fans of Delhi. So kudos for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a funny incident that the first time I came with my uncle.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that it's my uncle whom I came with, but not with my parents. My parents would have definitely not left me back here. So I came with my uncle for this this admission in SPA.
Okay.
And he saw the hostel, how the students are like really chilled out, and they're just partying and all of this, the Delhi, the culture in general. Yeah. And there was a bit of this, I would say, that shock. But he was also like really cool and chilled out, because he comes from he served in the army, and he lived in Gorakhpur for quite some time. So for him, it's not such a big shocker. But for my parents, it would have been definitely like moving, sending the son. I never stepped out of uh, Vijayawada and our district before I came here.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, for the only son to to travel all the way from back then, it was not even like, it was a what do you say, it was a young town, not as developed as it was now.
Yes.
And for my parents to trust and send me here was
A very big step.
it was a big step,
Yeah.
definitely, even for me. But I'm really happy that it happened.
So after you graduated as an architect,
Yeah.
what was your journey from there?
After I graduated as an architect, the two things definitely came to my mind. One was like architecture is a very niche profession. While there are amazing examples of architects doing some extremely socially relevant and meaningful work, but when you are quite young and when you just graduated, your eyes and what you're looking at is all the glittery stuff, like something that is more catchy and
Yeah.
what is like more visually appealing.
Correct.
And it was the same with me too. I mean, when I graduated, I was actually always like looking up to some really big names in the industry, probably mostly I was international architects and like doing some really uh, amazing and inspiring work. And I always used to think that, but this question was always there actually, like, why is it that we don't hear? I mean, well, we have some really amazing Indian architects, like who set an example, but you hear more of Western architects in everywhere, and you don't really hear so much about the celebration of Indian architecture per se.
Absolutely.
So when I graduated, my thoughts were also like the inspiration was like, oh, I want to become like probably a Zaha Hadid or the Remkulas or Saint. I love Santiago Calatrava, so probably someone like him. So I always actually was looking at thinking that, one day I want to be like one of these guys doing some work. So I think that's how it started, like wanting to do. But then slowly when I started practicing, things changed. Now I don't think the same anymore. So
Yeah.
probably my thought process has changed 100%. Like it's the opposite right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was how it was when I started.
But why do you think that is? Why is it that we're always looking at the West and not really looking at the East so much, and our own culture, which is so rich in all? I mean, look at what we've built over the last, hundreds and thousands of years. We have the most beautiful architecture in the country.
That's exactly the question that we like. What brought me and back to India. I went for masters abroad, and I was actually at one point of time planning to work there for some time and do that. But there is this trigger at some point that it was back in 2015. I was doing my masters in robotic fabrication.
Okay.
And for architecture. Now, robotics and construction was an exciting intersection. I wanted to like make structures which are highly complicated using technology and all that. So what I noticed in Europe, and that was also, like I said, the thought that brought me back here was that I was in Europe for a year, and I realized that India is like a mini Europe where you have such diverse urban fabric, from architecture to food, the cuisine, the fabric that we wear, the languages,
Yeah.
and we are so rich in our the cultural heritage. It's like
Correct.
it's beautiful. And the only thought that was there was that why is it that we do not like celebrate, wear it on a sleeve, and
Yeah.
say that this is who we are, and we want to like really like show it.
Correct.
And now these days, I'm really happy to see a lot of entrepreneurs and all like taking like the modern Indian aesthetic and trying to do something with it, which is very encouraging these days. But back then, it was more around like we always look up to the Western buildings and starting to like start aping it
Correct.
and wanting to replicate what was there. Uh, I think it is just the way the media or like the films. I think we can even talk about the basic things about like when you talk about films,
Yeah.
which have a
All
serious
in
impact on
Switzerland.
the exactly all the duets, everything is in Switzerland. Like why? I think that the whole question is that the media and the films, which play an extremely important role in the way
Absolutely.
they tune the mindset of the audience.
Yeah.
Like why are we not? Probably that's the reason why when I look at now the movies of Sanjay Leela Bhansali, like when you show the culture and everything in a such like
Yeah.
beautiful canvas.
Yes.
That's something that feels like really proud to like look at. So and even if we talk about the design and films and all that, like in the recent past, we also started looking at people started taking Indian mythology and converting them into beautiful stories.
Yeah.
Now that's a great shift. But there was a time when all the stories were about when you talk about superheroes, we're only looking at like all the Avengers and the Marvel universe, right? But now I think that that's when we're realizing that okay, now we have great Indian stories,
Yes.
like mythologies, which can be converted into films and so on, and then we can start digging into that.
Yeah.
So for me, that's where even Kalki really stands out, because the premise is set on an ancient mythology but taking it to the future. So so the notion of what India is and what our culture is and how we can represent it today. I'm not talking about just from a design or architecture sense, but across diverse backgrounds.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has I think a serious and a great impact on the society. So I think we should start celebrating our more the roots and where we come much more than what we are already doing. Right?
Yeah, and I think that also comes from a big place of conservation. I mean, I was in Leh a few months ago and I was seeing these beautiful monasteries and the art inside.
Yeah.
Everything, of course, is all natural, so you're not allowed to use flash and things like that. It's all natural colors. But it's amazing to see that people we haven't preserved our own work.
Yeah.
And actually, foreign companies come in and say, let us do this for you. Which is, even today, I mean, of course, it's changing. But it really happens. I saw that there were a bunch of foreigners who were trying to come in to fix those things, which was, I really feel like we really need to start doing that. And I think you should maybe talk about that more when, you represent India and things like that.
Absolutely. I think that is one thing that I'm really happy with. The major political shift in the globally right now, what's happening. In a way, I also think that that here we have an opportunity now to take seriously what we have and start building our own the local ecosystems.
Absolutely.
And cross sectors, and then do something really with it. Because I think here, while I think it probably is quite a problematic thing for a lot of businesses and people who are interdependent on other countries for economy, without getting into the specifics. But I think here, like probably this is the time. It's also if you look at it as an opportunity.
Yes, it's a blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing in disguise. It could be a blessing in disguise if you handle the situation really well. Yeah.
So coming back to your masters, you graduated. How and when did you start Ant Studio?
So Ant was an idea. I started 1 year before actually I went for my masters.
Okay.
And back then it was called Urban Box Design Studio. So when I meant Urban Box, it's like urban boxes, which is the buildings in urban setting. But then the idea of Ant came in when I was doing my masters, when the whole shift happened, because I was doing this robotics in construction. So I was imagining that what if in the future we take all the technology that's available, only the technology, and we ignore everything else, like scrape everything off. And only the learnings. What I'm saying, only the intangible outcome, but not anything tangible. So the question was, will we still build the same way that we are building right now? Can we go ahead in the future and sculpt landscapes like ants do? Will we start living the way that we are doing probably 10 years or 15 years down the line? So that's where the whole idea that, then the whole idea of when I was imagining what I'm going to do after learning about robotics and all that, the whole question that came in was that how should the practice be or the future be? So I was like, okay, what if we go start carving out these landscapes, sculpt them, and then like anthills.
Yeah.
And that's where the ant came in. And but then the more things that connect with ant, which is the teamwork, the beautiful swarm intelligence. I think they're brilliant. I mean, today morning I was looking at this video before coming here, where there is a small drop of tea somebody deliberately drops in, and there's a beautiful video of how the camera tracks that one ant going and informing the swarm of ants, and they come. Yeah. And that kind of it's not that the ant. I think that's a beautiful difference in nature. It's not like just enjoying the meal on its own, but it grows and brings the tribe.
I love that.
Right. I think that's the beauty of ant, is that they share, and the whole ecosystem of teamwork and sharing.
Yeah.
I thought there is so much to learn. I thought that's the best name that one can think of. They're the best builders. So yeah, it was a no-brainer after this thing. So I'm really lucky that I feel now when I look at it, I feel really lucky that I stumbled upon it back then.
Yeah.
The name, but it kind of also defined the values of the practice and the company that we are setting. Like when we discuss it, I think we discuss at great length about the virtues of the ants and what we can learn from them.
That's amazing. And you have this beehive design, and then there's also cool ant. So tell us like more about that. What is beehive design?
So Cool Ant came much later after the beehive.
Okay.
So I was working for this factory with the client, Mr. Vinod Sharma, who was the from Dake Electronics, and he gave us this opportunity to work on this beehive for his factory.
Okay.
And I would say that was kind of also an amazing. I mean, how the small things like change life changes.
Yeah.
In a way, because they were having this problem with the DG set, and they wanted to do something in front of that with something, and they tried different solutions with hay and some other evaporative cooling techniques, and all did not work. So that's when we came into the picture, and they asked us to do something with that. So when I was discussing with it, I'm really happy to have found a client right early in my career who would give you the free hand and say, okay,
go for it,
do it. Dekha jayega. I think that's also like, as architects across, like even when you look at like the ancient times, we're all dependent on our patrons and how they let you do things the way you want to do, right? I think, like for me, I'm really lucky that I found someone like this in my early stages of my career, where he said, okay, you do it. Then first I made a prototype with a brick, this brick lattice as a proof of concept, and it worked. And then we shifted to the earthen pots with this, where the whole form was conceived like a beehive, and we put it in the factory, and it worked. But I never thought it's such a big thing, honestly. Not even in my wildest dreams that I would think of something like this being. It will really change the trajectory of our entire the practice and so on and so forth. So it was just 2 days before I left for Spain for my masters. I finished this, and I was following on what's happening, kaam kar rahe, nahi kar rahe, and all of it over the phone. That's it. That's the end of it. And after a few weeks, I stopped asking. Also, like chal raha hai, it's good. Then I came back to India. I was looking at more work. So when I came back, I thought it's going to be quite easy, and I thought people will come back flocking, giving work and all of that. I said, when you come back, I started once before, 1 year before. I thought I was doing some work. So I thought when I come back, it will be a catwalk.
Easier.
Yeah. Much easier. I was living out of the suitcase for 6 months.
Oh my God.
I did not have a place in Delhi. I did not have any employment, no work. I did not want to join go back to working for someone. And I was literally living out of the suitcase from one friend to another. But I used to stay for 2 weeks at one friend and then move. And I was doing this till, I remember I came back in September or something, till February I was doing this. And so I was desperate for work. Then I said, okay, let me publish this so that I'll find more work. Then I went and shot this, hoping that I'll get a few more projects similar to this with the beehive. And when we put it out, the response that we got was quite overwhelming. And yeah, I think that's the whole beehive then became a product which is Cool Ant right now.
Okay.
So that's how the journey has evolved.
And you've really focused a lot on sustainability, right? Why? Like, was that always your agenda, or again, was that something that just came about and you evolved?
I inherently, I mean, as a designer, right since my the college days and all that, my focus early in my career used to be innovation and more experience and visual, which was like trying to create something really innovative, something really that stands out and all that. But there is something which probably the only thing at this point in retrospect, I can look back and say that I was doing something right, was that I always wanted things to be nature centric.
Okay.
And I would not even use the word sustainability and climate change, none of these big words at all. But my only focus was on how can I make the designs that I'm doing inspired by nature, trying to take them back to nature.
Yeah.
For me, it was purely about nature and landscape. I was not even thinking about the big issues. I was not even aware of such big issues, to be very honest. Like, awareness came much later in my career. So earlier it was more about wanting to do something with nature, like nature-driven practice and all that. So, but then, so naturally all my buildings and everything that became more oriented towards nature and experience related to that. But when I started with Cool Ant and started doing this, I think that's where the awareness came into picture. I started learning more about the challenges and the problems and how good design and like thoughtful solutions can probably make an impact on the final outcome. So, like I said, that awareness is seeped in much probably like 3 or 4 years after I started my practice. Like it started slowly building, and then we started making solutions more while with nature, but also more around the problem and the problem solving.
Did that require a lot of technical knowledge? Working with nature, or having your designs inspired by nature?
I can answer this things in 2 steps. Now, when we talk about any problem to start with, you can always think of 2 kinds of solutions. One is a qualitative way of looking at things, and the other one is quantitative. So, for example, when you talk about recycled plastic in day-to-day life and you want to do something, you don't need big math to that. It's very simple saying that you need to segregate your waste. It's very qualitative. And you say that if you do this, it's good. You don't even have to think about how much it is going to save and big steps and all of it. So the one way of looking at it is that every problem has an outline, which is just a summary, which can be very without even getting into deep technical knowledge. And the other is quantitative, which is technical. If you want to solve things as an entrepreneur or as somebody who wants to take this as a career and want to do this. Now, when you try to go and convince others with something like this, then you always need to have the strong math and also the problem to be much more stronger, like as in you need to know the problem much better than someone else.
Of course.
So which means that your technical understanding of the problem, what is the size of the problem, and how you're going to tackle that, this entire thing changes. So that's where the technical things come into play. So when I started with the beehive and all of this, my technical knowledge was definitely way lesser, or at a very like probably this much as compared to what it is right today. And because what happens is that when I started, it was I know that this can probably do something and it can solve. But I think over the period of time, we started doing a lot of analysis, simulations, data, blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of things that happened. And then over the many years, like we built this technical knowledge, but we did not start with it.
Okay.
So yeah, I think to start with, I don't think you need a massive technical background. If you have and you're building, but that's another approach. You have strong, like if you come from a science background, you have a great technical knowledge about something, like scientists do, and you want to start something. I mean, that's phenomenal. That is fantastic. But I don't see that as a constraint. Like people, like I'm talking about in a generic sense.
Understood.
Yeah.
And when you, start a project, what is the process that you follow? Like from, this is what I want, Monish, please build me a beautiful farmhouse. What would you do next?
Okay, so there is, so let's say if any client comes to me like this, the first thing that I ask them is, do you know what we guys do? I actually ask that.
Not the budget.
Not the budget. No, I don't even care about the budget and all of that. Like, I want them to see what we are capable of and what we can give.
Okay.
And then I ask them, do you really want to work with us? So it's going to be a lot of trouble. So if they say yes, and we want to see, then we tell them, have you seen our work? Because the reason I do that is because like we enjoy the work that we do quite a lot. And we want the client also to enjoy that. It should not be a unilateral thing. It has to be it cannot be a monologue. It has to be a dialogue, right? Like wherein if both the clients have this mindset, the outcome is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And if it's only me who's having fun, and the client is cursing me and swearing me, oh, these guys are having too much fun, but this is not what I want and all, I think then the outcome is going to be not the same, right? I think at first when we take up any project, understanding the client and communicating what we do is the first step. And once that is done, like the way we approach the project is pretty simple. I think it is like we come up with a lot of ideas, we put them out there and we discuss them, we engage them as part of a design process, like we keep showing them what can be done and what not and all of that, and then we take it. So everything else is I think it has to be a right partnership.
Yeah.
Between the client and architect, yeah.
And how do you balance aesthetics with sustainability and making it practical? All those three things together.
Aesthetics is very intuitive. Experience is very intuitive. So when we do a sketch or something, and it comes like, okay, this is what the client wants. Actually, the first thing that is very important is the need of the client. What is it that they're looking for? Are we solving the core problem, whatever it is? If it could be the building in the city, or it could be a farmhouse, or it could be a apartment, or anything. Are we solving their core problem, what they came to us for? That's step number one.
Do they know their problem?
Yeah, then we
Sometimes
discuss,
they
because we do a lot of brainstorming with them,
Okay.
and then we, like, I mean, it could be as simple as you want to have a really comfortable home, probably of a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom. Like, you take
Okay.
consider all the requirements,
Hmm.
and you have to make sure that in a family there are a lot of people, and everybody has their own need. So the first thing is the need. I mean, we define that and say that we're going to do this. Then comes the second level, which is the design. Then we do a lot of like thinking and all of these things. But one thing we have learned, and now it become more of also like an intuitive process. Probably earlier it used to be more of a little bit more extra work, but now I think it became part of the process itself, which is that sustainability, we don't look at it as an afterthought anymore.
Okay.
For example, it is part of the whole process, because probably earlier I used to design a form and everything and think of how to make that building sustainably. But now, with all the experience and over time, what happens is that we only make such decisions and the designs where we know inherently that it is possible with the techniques that we're going to pick. So we don't really try to force. So, like in the whole process, it could curtail your creativity a little bit, because I know for a fact that when it comes to drawing strokes and making these buildings, I can be quite creative in terms of the spaces and all. Probably inherently, then there is a constraint around when I talk to a client and say that some clients come and say, okay, we love everything that you do, but we don't like curves. It happens. It happens so many times that they come back and say, we want your creativity, but everything has to be linear.
Okay.
Okay. I had clients like that.
Yeah.
And we love everything and we want it to be Vastu compliant. Do whatever you want to do. So then what we do is we apply our brain and mind into that thinking, starting with that as the problem statement. That then we start looking at how the roofs can be, but the building is all like probably orthogonal and linear and so on. So yeah, I think it's a very interwoven process. Slightly complex, but we really enjoy it.
Yeah.
That makes it more like a puzzle that you're solving, but not as a day-to-day, but not this typical cookie-cutter buildings. So we don't do that. Actually, those kind of clients don't come to us also.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I was going to ask you that, Delhi is full of these builder flats, as you know now, and you have these massive townships coming up. One, of course, aesthetically, there's really not much they can do. I guess they just have to go up and that's it. And the other thing is, what impact do you think they have on the environment?
I'll tell you this, like a couple of years back, I was arrogant enough to say that I don't work for builders or I won't work for builders. And because they don't understand my ideas and all, I said this probably in a public forum like this. And I take this back, because now I found such amazing, even builders with some great vision, wanting to do something that is really good for people and who have really high sense of, I'm not going to generalize this.
Of course.
But at least like those guys who reached out to us and we are working with them, at least like 4 or 5 builders now we are working with.
Okay.
And with great vision.
Okay.
And either it's a change in the mindset or we are showing to people that what is possible. It could be anything. But in cities, definitely like Delhi and all, there are constraints and not everybody has this. People want efficiency and more returns and financial profitability and all of that. But there are people who are giving, like at least I'm talking about the builders that we are working with, who focus on this really definitely good business and profitability, but who are also taking this upon them to give the best experience to the end user. And that's a great mindset. I really like these guys because they're balancing the business, but they're not compromising on the lifestyle or the aesthetics or the design or sustainability. I think that's a that crowd is really amazing to work with. So.
And what do you think of overall waste management, the way it happens in our homes? How can we improve that?
I would say that it should start with when the kids are like small. It's a lifestyle thing, and when you do things certain way, if you're habituated to do certain things certain way, that's not going to. I think that becomes part of your. It should start with the basic education, the schooling, right from there, wherein you're saying that okay, this is how we're going to do it, and because becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, then I think you can then translate it. So especially in homes, like I think India being having the young population and everything is like really there. And I'm talking about the kids who are the future. If these guys can, and the most beautiful thing now is that most of the youngsters are also really aware of issues, especially the schools and education that is there. It should be more aware, but if it starts from that level, then definitely whatever we are discussing about the future problems, they'll come up with some even beautiful ways of not just treating it and segregating it, and also to do something with it. Probably create products, or what do we do with it, and all of it. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say I think it should start with kids.
And I think, there's something very interesting about hiring an architect, which is often the misconception that, you just need a building or a house. Why do you need an architect?
Yeah.
So why does a person need an architect? And why can't I just say that, yes, I have 4 rooms and a bathroom and a foyer and I can just design it myself? Why not?
Okay, there is this the saying which is very valid in this case, which is called penny wise pound foolish.
Yeah.
So, and it's really true, because the architect is someone who has diverse knowledge. Actually, he's like
a doctor of a building.
As a doctor or a jack of all trades, where especially in this case it's quite true, because he has a knowledge around your plumbing, your materials, where you can actually save materials. I'm not even talking about design and lifestyle is second. They can definitely make both buildings and also even cities at an urban level like quite beautiful and livable, and the whole the livability, the experience, the way the natural light comes in, how your cross ventilation. Building should not have sealant, what kind of waterproofing, and there are a lot at many levels. An architect is aware of both the art and the science of the building, how it should be, and also the scientific parameters behind. And he can save you a lot of cost. A lot of cost.
I think that's the misconception people have, that I'll have to pay the architect X% of my building cost.
As opposed to the money that an architect can save to a client, the fee that you pay the architect is actually minuscule. And people incur far more cost in unknowingly mistakes and all, which what do you say, what you would be paying an architect. So the amount of, I think like I said, at many levels. Also, I'll tell you something which I kind of feel like feel really bad about the profession, is that basically he takes all your headaches. The architect takes care of all the headaches from different quarters. Oh my God, one side, the romanticizing and everything is around the design and the creativity part of it, but then there is also like the lot of headaches around what's going to happen to your plumbing, your drainage system. I think here, since we are talking a lot around design and all, I think that's really one part of that story. But what is also really important in a good building that is functioning is all your basic services and your ventilation. We cannot live in the glass boxes and matchboxes anymore, right? I think the good ventilation, thermal comfort, and your air conditioning bills. So a good design building takes care of all of these parameters. From your you don't have to, otherwise you'll end up chasing all the tiles, and you go to do a lot of survey on which ones to pick, what's the right market thing. But for an architect, it's a day-to-day thing. I would say that there will be probably, I'm not over exaggerating this, like in making a single building, I'm talking about a typical building, probably you have to make more than 1,000 decisions on what to do. And even one thing goes wrong, it's going to cost you much more. I think that's where the penny wise pound foolish things come into play. Like it could be structural design, it could be waterproofing, it could be whatever, like all of this. So yeah.
And this obviously the whole process of hiring an architect. How do I know how to pick the right one? Because so many times, it's like, I know I can't code, so I'll go to somebody technical and say, let's go. But then again, I don't know what they're doing is right, wrong, often until the product is ready. So when I'm hiring an architect, what are the things I should look out for?
See, if you're asking me this question 10 years back, when the social media was not so strong, it was very difficult. Because that time, you probably have to depend on a few magazines. That time, it was more on physical, these magazines that are there, who would be, you depend on them to make judgment around who you want to really work with. But now in today's state, with social media, you first of all, like, uh, when you're making a house, it's also an emotional decision that you're making to make something.
Yeah.
Right? I think you start even before when you purchase something. That's when you already mind starts to think. So if you can shortlist architects based on Instagram or whatever social media, and then start following their work and see if they are the right fit for you or not. I think the right fit is extremely critical.
Yeah.
And whether these guys understand your taste and your requirement, and are they like, I think that is really important. The first step, number one. Step number two is, once you shortlist a few the guys, I think it's really important to go and meet them, discuss, and then just see if if you share the vibe. It's like, just if you can be, like I said, uh, even like a good friends in the first place, whether you're able to talk to each other, whether like whether how is the response and all of it. Like, if you think that these basic parameters meet,
Yeah.
and that's it. I mean, because you'll be working on a project for the next couple of years, or at least an year or something, if you're making the building, it's important to make sure that the at least like when you're able to converse with them, are they receptive to your ideas and the problem statement and everything like that. I think that's really important. And of course, like, you definitely have to evaluate them on their previous works and look at what they have done. If like all of this, I think you definitely have to take a look at it. But conversations and reaching out really helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, referrals.
Yeah.
So in today's date, even if you're purchasing a pen or anything, even like a small music system, you always check the referrals.
Absolutely.
And I think we live in the world of
Lots of reviews.
Yeah. Right. So I think in this case also the same thing. When you talk to others and get their how did they feel, and look at their work in the media and so on, you'll find it.
Yeah. And what is the difference between an architect and an interior designer, and can both those roles be interchanged?
Well, yeah, definitely they can be not in, I wouldn't say interchanged. Architect is a both of them are design related roles. And only difference, I would say, speaking very technically, is that an architect is trained to have certain technical knowledge related to the structures, your plumbing, electrical, MEP, air conditioning, and so on and so forth. I think as part of the training and everything, to get that kind of the systems in place. That's what is the role of an architect, and also to converse with all these technical guys to make your building. And well, even the interior design, like I said, they both are designers. And but the only thing in that other case is that probably they are not formally trained as an architect.
Okay.
So, which means they're really good at design. They can do the interiors, and which is non-structural.
Yeah.
And but I'm sure with their practice, they'll also have good experience in your plumbing, electrical, and also air conditioning. But when it comes to structural and other stuff, I think it is very important to have an architect on board for anything related to structural design.
Okay. Is there like a website or some directory that has enlisted all the architects and what they specialize in the country, where people can go and have a look, or is it just random through social media and word of mouth?
No, there are a lot of platforms where you have listed, I wouldn't say all, but like a directory, but all, you can say top 20, top 30 architects of every city. So there are a lot of platforms where they say that these are the best practices in Delhi and Bangalore and all these places. And but they're also at the same time, all this in the social media, if you look at, if you're following any of these top-notch magazines that are digital magazines, which you're talking about, we publish. So they'll also keep publishing, while established architects for sure will be in the top list. But you'll also find those upcoming budding architects, like, who are really talented.
Okay.
It'll also be really good too, because sometimes you need fresh ideas and you want to work with youngsters. It could be two reasons. One is that, yes, you want fresh ideas and somebody who's like very easy to work with. And it could also be a cost factor, because definitely the senior practices are more expensive than younger practices.
Yeah.
Because they have more systems to follow, more compliances and all. Probably when you're somebody starting early, they have lesser expenses on their board, so they can afford to make things slightly cheaper.
Do you recruit a lot of interns?
I wouldn't say a lot. We do get a lot of applications, but we have at a time we take about 5 to 6 interns.
And what do you look for in that resume when you get them on board?
Attitude.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
When I especially speak, because we get some really good applications, and like most of the people that we get are, I would say that technically good. I mean, I'm sure they're smart, But what I really definitely look at is attitude, because if you have the attitude to learn and want to do something that is, I tell them like every time, how is this guy? How is the vibe?
Yeah.
Like, okay, and do ask them what are their hobbies. Are they just like, are they beyond the design and everything? What are their extracurricular activities? And whether they like cooking, music, singing, whatever it could be, writing,
Yeah.
or even like drawing and art. So luckily we have a team wherein I can say that most of the people are multi-talented. And when I say multi-talented, not like beyond, I mean, so most of the people are quite creative, and they have something or the other extraordinary about them. It's just not drawings.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing. I think it's such an important point to have the right attitude, because once you have that, I think developing a skill in today's day and age is not that hard.
Yeah. If you have the right attitude, you can just like, I mean, the word this, it's really true. Work hard, party harder.
Yeah.
I think it should be the case. Like you put your heart out there and do the thing and enjoy it. Like, you just go whatever, like chill, do everything. But at the same time, when it is time to do something, you just like, you give your 100%.
Yeah.
So when you have the right attitude, you have the attitude to enjoy even like when the time are like really tough. Because especially when you're young, you don't know much about a lot of things. It's going to be a little tough, because for people when they go to the site, they realize that probably the mason or the guy at the site knows much more than you.
Yeah.
It happens. It happened with me. Everybody, it happens that you know that guy knows much more how to make. You might be really good at making 3Ds and designs and all that,
but
he knows much more about making a wall than you do. So you need to set your ego aside and say that no, I need to learn how to do this. I think that's so there. I think that thing about toning down, not showing off your degree or like your thing, saying that okay, I come from this great college and all of it, but putting yourself down and learning from a mason. If you have the right attitude, then definitely I think that's where it should be.
Yeah. And you went to Shark Tank. How was that? It's quite a unusual platform for someone like you to be on.
Yeah, definitely. I think before me, there were very few architects, or just one who was there on Shark Tank, and it was quite thrilling, to be honest. Like it is. So for me, one thing that comes quite naturally is design and product innovation and all of this is something that is really like I don't have to think, I don't have to blink. I can just answer all of these things like pretty much. And even technical knowledge, I realized that I'm pretty much okay or good. I started realizing more about myself when I went into the tank, because I started realizing what all things I'm bad at. Sales. And I started understanding, oh, this is what I'm good at, this is not what I'm good at. I need to answer all these queries about. So what I realized is that while I'm, like I said, I'm really good at math, I'm really good at probably even sales and marketing and all of this. I really like all of the sales and marketing. But the business development side of things, about understanding the numbers and the profitability and all this math, at that point of time, for me, I started like taking these things quite seriously. Like in the sense, like, okay, now I'm not a principal architect anymore. I'm an entrepreneur. So I need to have my like the learnings and everything also around the entire the business development, P&Ls, and the what are you expecting, and the whole business side of things. So for me, I would say that part was the most exciting, because before I went in, the whole preparation, it's not just being there in the tank, but the entire preparation of going into the tank was exciting. I mean, while I was doing day-to-day before, like for 2 years, and this thing, but I never went to investors for pitching before getting into Shark Tank. I never. My first time I'm pitching to an investor is in the Shark Tank. So I was like, okay, now I need to be more prepared. I need to have my like the numbers on my fingertips and all of that. So I think that was the part that was pretty exciting for me to learn, and it kind of helped, of course, further in my journey as well. But yeah,
did you get a lot of traction after that?
Oh yeah, crazy. It was, yes. 2000x traction.
Wow. So a lot of your phones were like ringing off the hook that Monish, please come and design things
and
for
it was
us.
quite overwhelming. In fact, the most exciting part was also what followed through after the tank was after Shark Tank was to cater to that kind of inquiries that we started getting in. As a company, as a startup, we had to start working on the systems of how we're going to build the systems in the practice and in the company, so that because as architects and as designers, probably we don't deal with that kind of volume of inquiries coming in. Probably for other industries, it could be common. for other alternate
Yeah, yeah.
industries. But in other case, like in our case, we are only uh, the number of clients and the people that we deal with is much lesser. So with this and also like all the other, thanks to other the media recognition and everything we got in, we were definitely doing, I mean, like unlike in typical architecture practice, already we would get like probably 10 or 20x more inquiries, or even before the Shark Tank. But then after Shark Tank, it just exploded, and then we were like far more. I think in 3 months we got about uh, 3,000 to 4,000 inquiries, which is quite massive, and we had to really learn how to manage. And
Yeah.
for 2 or 3 months, I think we were more like a call center, just answering. And then, like, I'm not kidding, the phone would keep buzzing. We had to keep a track. Then we would start working on what kind of systems we need in place to record everything and put it in place and whatnot. I think in the entire transition, we also lost a lot of people because we did not know how to like even
cater
to those many people in the first
I
place.
can imagine. I mean,
So,
it can be very overwhelming.
It was
suddenly.
quite overwhelming. It was.
So, and you did not prepare for that before you went, thinking that, listen, I'm going to now start getting so
No, we had a bit of an idea.
Okay.
So what we did is that we did try to create a few systems in place prior. But it's one thing looking at the water and jumping into it. So what I was doing earlier is just like looking at it, but then you learn to swim only when you jump in, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. So
and you obviously been felicitated by the President of India for the National Energy Efficiency Innovation Award. When was that, and did you were you shocked and were you just taken aback and over the moon when that happened?
I got this one email one day from Nia saying that we got shortlisted for a jury, and which is, so this is actually a 6 months process. Getting this award was it's not so you have to apply for this. You have to send a project and apply, and then you go to the jury and all of that. And my team submitted a project for this, and we had no idea. I did not have any idea. And then I was in a wedding, one of my colleagues' wedding at the time, and the jury was happening, and I had literally had to sneak into one of the rooms where there is really less shore, and then I had to go for this award and all.
Okay.
Even when I went for this NIA award, I did not know that if you get selected and felicitated, you will be by the president. And so until I have done that, I gave the jury, and it went fine, and it went really well. So I came out, and then I was asked like, how was it and all of it. I said, yeah, it went okay. Like, let's see what happens. So I did not know I thought it was like any other competition, or because my team just send in the submissions and all of that. I like this one. So, but later when we got selected, when we got in, and then we got an invite stating that you will be blah blah blah, you have to be here and this, and these are the protocols and this and that, and that was like, and then I read the whole thing. I said like, when did we submit this? And by the time there's a colleague who sent in this thing, and she was not there, and I had to literally call and thank you so much.
That's amazing.
That's the most amazing thing that you did. Like
Yeah.
I think it was quite a thing, because as entrepreneurs you have to keep applying. You have to keep sending your projects and everything to a lot of platforms. We keep you have to be on top of the game, and keep submitting for some grants and awards and all of that. So it was as part of the process. I think even she didn't realize when she sent it, and she was like, okay, she just saw that there is something, and then let's send this.
That's amazing.
And it was quite an accident. Nobody realized that this award is something where you get felicitated by the president. And when it happened, it was just we were on cloud 9. So
I can imagine. I mean, it's such a big deal. Congratulations.
It is. Thank you so much. But it definitely is one of those in the sine curve, the top moments. Yes.
Yeah. And then you've presented at the G20 summit and also in the Science Museum in London. As an Indian architect, when you present design and innovation as an Indian, what is the impact you create for our country? And also, do you think there should be more architects in such forums?
Unfortunately, the answer for this is, as of now, I think there can be far more in this domain than there are. I think you can actually count the number of architects in forums like this on fingertips. And which I think is sad, but I mean, first of all, like, we are really happy to be part of the G20 summit in Bali, where I was one of the panelists, and I was selected for this the coolant and the entrepreneurial work that I'm doing as one of the emerging companies and startups in the country. And It was a great opportunity to discuss about, especially in the construction ecosystem, what is the potential of design and entrepreneurship, and how this can, as architects, it can grow into we can solve problems on a day-to-day thing. But speaking purely from the lens of an architect, as of now, while, like I said, while I'm going to generalize this, but there are definitely few architects who have changed course and actually doing some amazing, uh, inspiring work at a social level, like doing, which has much greater impact on the society. I would say that to be on platforms like this, I think we need more such people who are not just catering to to the niche. Like I said, um, architecture is great. It creates beautiful experiences, beautiful cities, and it improves the lifestyle of individuals. But it can be both at the level of an experience at the niche level, the people who can afford, and also at the grassroots level where you're also able to create an impact to the society where people cannot afford, and it could be related to the climate change or social injustice or resilience, low cost housing, and the many places where architects can cater to at a level of buildings and also at an urban planning level.
And roads, please.
And roads.
We
And
really
at
need
planning
that.
level, like this is where architects and the design community can contribute to the people. So we need definitely more people on platforms like this to talk about sustainability and climate change, because especially construction industry is the second most in the country that contributes to global warming,
Pollution, yeah.
the emissions that come out.
Yeah.
So while I was definitely happy and proud to be there at that point of time, but I felt that there can be far many. We need much more architects in those platforms to talk about some of the challenges we are facing with uh, the construction industry. And it is not, it is quite less. The representation is very less. So yeah.
And is the government doing more work to involve more architects and really involve them in in planning cities?
See, I would say that the government is doing its best in terms of trying to create the platforms, or like I said, urban planners or people. Definitely, there's a lot of work that the government is taking to cater to most of the whether it is climate related or infrastructure related or anything that is there. So they are doing a lot, but the thing is also that as a profession, when you're talking about something like this, um, okay, let me put it like this: 90% of the clients that I deal with are affluent and can afford an architect. Okay, probably 10% of the projects that we do are like very low cost and stuff like this. Okay, I'm talking about hypothetically. I'm not our practice. I'm talking in general, in an architecture studio, or even lesser. You can create much more impact as an architect if you are also doing balance. I'm not saying you should only do this or you should only do this. If you're able to do balance to both, that number should change, because your clients who are already probably up there and who can afford an architect are only able to afford you. I think as architecture practice, you are able to do more and also cater to the society and reduce your whatever, like the fees or something, and able to make it more inclusive. That's when you are able to tackle certain problems or also come up with products or something that can tackle the problem. If you already start doing that and you're up there, that's when you start like actually becoming more, you have a stronger voice in the society.
Absolutely.
And the government will reach out to you. And whether it is in the landscape, I know architects who left architecture but working on rainwater projects. Like there is, which is very inspiring. The people working on the planting or the landscaping. I'm not talking about landscape architects, but I'm talking about in general, like the urban ecosystems. There are architects fighting for climate change. So people have taken up like an alternate, like passion along with the design to drive it. So when you start doing that, and you create a voice not just for the upper class of the society, but also for other causes.
Yes.
That's when I would say that you have much deeper voice, and then that's when you will naturally be approached by, it could be NGOs or even the international bodies, it could be United Nations, or it could be even government, like I said, or municipalities and all. You start becoming more relevant in the society for your services. So I would say definitely. So, and it's also unfair to just leave everything on the government to say that they should call you and they should do something about it. I think it should be the other way around. You take the initiative, you show the way, and then they'll come to you and say, okay, please, you lead in this and we will support you the way we want to do it.
Fair.
Yeah.
And if there was one city you could totally redesign in India, which city would it be and what would you do to it?
Redesign.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not happy with any city to start with.
No, but the one that you would pick and be like, let me start with this one.
Goa.
Really?
Yeah.
That is such like I would never expect that. I would think you'd say something like Delhi or Bangalore.
No.
Or,
Why? I'll
that's
tell you something. Why?
amazing.
Why? I'll tell you why. Why redesign? Because we already think it is really good. And look at the way that things are happening right now. It has such strong culture. I think in 10 years down the line, you will stop recognizing what was originally Goa, because that's something that we all internationally people recognize. And in the name of Goa and the modern construction that they're doing is so pathetic. The texture of something what people are doing is so sad. And they're making this modern buildings, cutting the landscape and cutting the entire, recently there's an article around depleting the entire natural resources and doing something that is, you will not even recognize what it was there for.
Really?
And the Portuguese, the architecture and all of that, I think the more, like when you go, it is overcrowded. And I think places like this, which have a strong historic background and culture, need to be preserved and conserved. And why I'm saying redesign is that we should stop like losing our heritage cities like this, or even Varanasi or Jaipur, because I'm not picking a city, modern city like Delhi, Mumbai, or others, because they'll have their own urban density problems, which will exist forever. But there are places like this where, for example, even take Varanasi, right? It's one of the most ancient cities in the world.
Yeah.
Right? It is. It's one of the beginning of the cities. I think we should pick cities like that, which has like Jaipur and strong, see, Jaisalmer and all of these places, and preserve them. When I say redesign, I'm not going to do anything new, but like you need to conserve the culture and preserve it and let it be the way it is, and stop development much more than what it should be.
Yeah. So, and I see this abroad, because I think in order to build in, say, the UK or in a certain area, you have the planning commission, the buildings have to look the same.
Yeah.
You can't just sit and create a red building in the middle of 15 white buildings and so on and so forth. But here in India, there is no such thing. You can do what you want.
Yeah, if I may reframe my answer, I would say all heritage cities in India.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like
Please
I said,
do.
Yeah, all of them should be. I'm saying we should not redesign, but let them be the way they are. Preserve, clean, and conserve them. I think that's the best thing that we can do. Let them be the way they are.
Yeah.
And refine.
And how do you think architectural priorities are shifting across the world, from luxury design to sustainability? I see a huge shift around that. Although there is still, you hear this news that this apartment has been sold in New York for this much and so on and so forth. But is that changing slowly? Where,
see, in the society, you'll find all kinds of people, and but it's the media what it highlights.
Yeah.
There will be times when definitely there are buildings that are sold at like probably $100 million or something like that, like villas and places. They will continue to exist, and you'll find bags which are like fashionable, also selling for like probably $10,000 for a bag or something like that. That will there,
Yeah.
and which is even good enough for the building or someone to live for an entire year.
Yeah.
So that kind of things will remain. And unfortunately, I'm not saying that it should be or not, but I think the focus currently is shifting on highlighting in today's date around. There was a time when probably luxury and this opulence was highlighted. But in today's date, I think what I really think and nice, and also the media is also getting more sensitive towards, is problems, climate change, social cause, probably issues related to water, which is I think the most important thing. Yeah. Look at Gurgaon. You cannot, in summers you cannot live because there is no water. In rainies you cannot live because there is all water, too much water, yeah. Right? So there is this is what is happening with the cities.
Yeah.
And so the focus should shift on to more problem solving, and which is happening. And there are people like, for example, one of the most prestigious awards, which is considered to be the Nobel Prize of Architecture, the Pritzker, many years ago, like at least half a decade ago, all the architects who were winning were doing exceptional work, groundbreaking work around innovation, and they set something which is really aspiring. But in the last few years, if you notice, the shift is more towards people who are doing socially relevant work. Now, the celebration in architecture has come now while innovation is still celebrated, but actually the focus on this is more towards
Impact.
whether impact and whether are you able to create impactful work using in the medium that you have. So there is a shift in architecture, I think, which is great. I at first when it happened, I was quite sad. I was like, what do you say? What happened to innovation and all of that? But then when you slowly start realizing, okay, why this shift and all of it, and I realized, no, I think this is the right thing to do, because now more and more people will be inspired to do impactful work, to be qualified, like to be up there. So I think there's a shift, and because architecture has definitely has tremendous potential to tackle both the extremes. On one side, you can create work that is highly aspirational. You're talking about like you were literally the tallest skyscraper, the sky is the limit, wherein you're talking about innovation and superstructures, and you're talking about like stuff which is what do you say? I wouldn't call it as the right or wrong, but something on the other extreme.
It's like a competition. Who's going to build the tallest?
Yeah, or even opulence, like
Yeah.
luxury, or you talk about whatever the way you want to define it. On the other way side, you have the ability to impact the at a grassroots level, somebody who's living, like what kind of space you're creating for somebody, even for a homeless person who's living on the streets. We're talking about inclusive architecture, where you're actually creating structures for them, or what kind of, at a very grassroots level you're talking about. So it has the ability to cater to both the extremes. Now it's up to the individual which journey or the path he wants to pick.
Yeah. And which city do you think in the world is a city that you think is architecturally quite like good, beautiful, well taken care of, preserved?
I love Barcelona.
Yeah.
I lived in Barcelona for, like I said, it was quite inspiring to me, and probably also the reason why I came back, because I love they preserved it. Architecture is celebrated. Architects are celebrated.
Absolutely.
And every street corner you will see the places, and people talk about architecture. Like there is a respect in the air around design and architects. I think that was quite nice. And where are the many other beautiful cities abroad, and but definitely here, like there's a huge, there's a whole lot of reverence to architects and the profession.
Yeah.
So for me, definitely Barcelona stands out. While there are many other beautiful cities, I mean, this one, but yeah, that's definitely the best.
And I think also there's so much storytelling behind it. You know, the Sagrada Familia and like the whole story of how it was planned, and I think that. What do you think storytelling?
Every paver or the street, everything has a like this thing. I think as individuals, as all of us, I'm not talking about just designers, like we are emotional beings. And we get connected with the narratives and the stories, whether it is fictional or real, or could be anything, inspiring, whatever, this thing. So we connect with the narratives. So narration is a very important part in design, in storytelling, in architecture and all, because if you know that there is something that is there, just there, there's no reference to it, but there is also like a story why it is there, and how did it even arrive there, what is the purpose of it, and whatever. And then suddenly that particular stone or something, even considered to be God, I mean, you start praying to it. And how is it possible? It's only the narratives and that makes a stone, and how we worship it. It all depends on the how we the narrative or the belief that we create around that object, right? I think especially in India, we worship nature, right? When I say nature, we worship starting from like animals or the trees or the like in every object we see certain meaning in it. Okay, and it's nothing to do with architecture, and that's happening. That belief and the worship is a derivative of that belief system, which is created by the narrative that no, this has much deeper meaning, and there's much deeper energy connected with it, and we start treating it that way.
Yeah.
So narratives, I think, is a extremely strong medium to what do you say, communicate with people. I think there is no other way. Yeah.
And this, now contemporary architects, what do we learn from India's stepwells or Japan's wooden temples? Do we really apply all that in today's construction and things like that?
There are few people who are doing still, And if you especially talk about Stepwell, there is this one architect turned, you can say, water conservationist and activist, if I may call her, Kalpana Ramesh
Okay.
from Hyderabad, who's doing this amazing work around stepwells
Okay.
and preserving a lot of this, like doing some exceptional work. And but I think there should be many more in a country of 1.6 billion population. It will be really sad if you say that only 3 or 4 people doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's I think it should be a norm, or like, well, there are certain individuals setting the example, but I think that these things are ancient and they should be more and more. It should not be just fables and stories from the past that you're just using them as relics and as monuments to visit.
Because
It
they
should
also
become a
actually
day-to-day.
worked.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
it was
work.
so scientific, right?
Yes,
The way it was
absolutely.
built.
Absolutely. Like, for example, let's look at CSR projects today. People do it for a lot of things, of course, which is good. I think the CSR is a great initiative by the government. But I think people should be looking at even like building stepwells and water conservation and, like, all these metropolitan cities, especially where there are water crisis.
Yeah.
Do that and then do it and then say that, okay, preserve or even create new ones. Like probably you have 1,000 old ones to do. But
Yeah.
who's stopping you from creating another 10,000 new ones for the future?
Yeah, we should start
So,
with Gurgaon.
We should start with Gurgaon. They're definitely today we're
need
just
step
discussing.
well.
One of my friends did amazingly well, and in New York, she's an IP lawyer. She got featured on in the Times Square in New York,
Oh, wow.
and her work is up there with AI technology. And she's a lawyer whose work she got featured over there on the digital boards, and we are like super happy. And she lives in Gurgaon. We're going to party and said, okay, hey, we're going to book Uber boats to come to your place and all of it. And like in today, these are the jokes we were talking
Yeah.
about. Like the problems becoming like humor,
Yeah.
and rather do something about it. Like,
Yeah.
solve it in a different way with that.
If you could really collaborate with any one architect from, ancient times, who would that be, and what do you think you'd create?
If you say way too ancient, I would say Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay. Wow.
And
What would you build?
I mean, I'm really amazed at one individual doing everything. He would design. I think it's for me truly poetic and truly genius,
Yeah.
because he's quite an inspiration, because he defined that you are creative and you're innovative doesn't mean that you are for a particular profession. And you can do science, you can do engineering, and you can do this. He said that. He said that he did not say it, but like he did that. And what I'm saying is that that's if you're creative, you're creative. If you're creative, you can probably invent a needle or a helicopter, what he did, and even make buildings. So for me, definitely, I would want to collaborate and look at how he is, like what he was doing, because that's him for sure.
And tell me more about the role of AI in architecture today.
AI is something that is, I think it is inevitable. And if you use it right, we can solve a lot of problems. But at the same time, we should be quite wary of the jobs and what impact it can have on the employment and all that. So when you talk about AI, I used to do a lot of lectures and everything in this domain. And initially, there was a lot of buzz around image creation and design. You're only talking about AI from how your living room is going to look, or how your building is going to look. There are a lot of image generation tools which were there at one point. Which, I mean, that's how it started. It's the you can call it as the gateway drug of AI to design or architecture, where you're talking about image creation as a medium to say that this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
But the real potential of AI, if you talk about the benefits of it, is not actually image creation. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just visual, and it's just purely visual. The crux of AI in architecture is data. I think that's where every other industry is using it, and that's what makes it really powerful. Like, you can use AI for predicting resource consumption, predicting emissions. If you talk about sustainability, you can use AI for, like I said, collating all the data, which is not currently in the construction industry. It's completely it's the second most informal sector in the country after agriculture, construction industry. I'm not talking about architecture. So you can use this big data to streamline this entire data and start making sense out of it, and start predicting resource consumptions, the impact it can have on the future, like what you're going to do. And materials and science. I think there is tremendous possibility what you can do with AI, much beyond just images. So I think there is a like what do you say, huge potential, and we are really following it quite closely.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to do something with it at the level of technology and all internally, and we are let's hope probably I'll be able to talk to you more about this some other time, but with respect to AI and all, because we are actually trying to do something using AI but for sustainability and other stuff. So let's see.
And do you think AI will ever replace architects?
No, it can't.
No.
It is because um, what happens on a day-to-day thing is that you have to make a lot of these impromptu on-site decisions and use your emotional and intelligence to make certain decisions on site. And more importantly, it's a lot of manual labor and like making things. So as of now, it can assist you, make your life super simple for architects and both clients, everybody.
Yeah.
And make your judgment faster. It can probably make you more efficient, but I don't think it can replace an architect. It is. It'll definitely change things and how we operate and how we think and how we deal with like a lot of stuff, but it is not going to be replacement. It cannot be.
Because I think the biggest question now is which jobs are going to be replaced, and how do you upskill yourself to not be replaced by AI, and that's why this question sort of is relevant.
Yeah, so if you look at other creative industries, let's say music. Now there is so much data that is available.
Yeah.
Like AI is able to take a singer
Yeah.
and start writing tracks and create
Yes.
music like the way that person is and do something with it. Probably the good thing or bad thing, I don't know, construction being so unorganized, there is not so much data online. So that makes it, it does not have so much information. I'm talking about in a real sense to translate something into. At an image level, it's already doing it. At an image generation level, it is already creating and giving you design options and all that. But to make something like that in person and real, it is still not there. So definitely, like I said, part of your profession, yes, there is definitely one thing that is getting impacted right now, which is there is this beautiful romanticism around design and architecture at one point of time, celebrating the legends of design and saying that this design style belongs to this person, this belongs to this, and there is this creativity always had this identity. One thing we will step into the identity crisis soon. We are already not step into, like, which is happening with, because now you write a code in AI and say that I want this architect and this architect married together and making something, and you can it'll give an image out of it, right? I think so. The identity is lost.
Yes.
And but that's the sad part, wherein the creativity or the design that is there is being taken away by the this one. But if you're truly true to yourself, you don't want to use the design, like we said, depend on AI for design, and you want to still create your own identity. And with this, I think you can still do that. And I'm sure they will be much more valuable in the future than anything, because there was a time when photography came in, people were worried that art and paintings will lose their credibility. But now the arts are still art, and they're probably more valuable. And in terms of like, this is rare, right? I think when photography came in, and we still do appreciate good photography and respect good photographs technology. So I think the way it depends is that how probably in the future, authentic and genuine work will get much more celebrated, because we know what is taken from the internet and what is there and what is going to be truly authentic and original.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll get its strong respect and also value. People will seek value in it.
Are there really good schools of architecture in India?
Oh, there are many. Definitely. I think when it comes to education, schooling, India is quite there across all sectors, because our education system is really strong. Our medical system is really strong. We have really good hospitals, and like I think we are one of those countries where with good brains.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we should be really proud of, because we supply the brains to the world. So I really hope everybody comes back now. So with all the political stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So, but I think when it comes to schools, education, I think we are definitely there. But yes, definitely a few things within the education systems can change, make research oriented and all of that, and make it further better.
More entrepreneurial as
more
well.
Entrepreneurial, make it more holistic and all of it. I think definitely there's a tremendous need for improvement and improvise it. But I don't think our schools are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely. Yeah, we have good
So people don't
systems.
have to go abroad if they want to become an architect. They must study in India. And I think that matters because also you perhaps, what is the curriculum like when you
I have done masters. I wouldn't say masters, like my specialization abroad.
Hmm.
But for me, it was what I learned more is from my travel and exposure than actually education.
Okay.
So I tell all my guys also that if you want to go abroad, go. Don't spend money and where you are supporting the other country's GDP. But because that's a big thing, education
Yes.
supports like internationally all these universities cater to
Yes.
the other countries. But go travel, get exposure, do
Hmm.
everything. But education, if you are talking purely from educational point of view,
Yeah.
our universities are going to give you the same thing.
Okay. So the curriculum is pretty much the same. The teachers
I wouldn't
are
say the
good
same. There
for
will be a
architecture
slight
in
difference.
particular.
I'm just saying that the learning will be this thing, but I think what I'm trying to say is you learn more by networking, meeting people, which you can also do other way around. Like for example, there could be short programs or travel, even language programs where you can do and learn and get exposed to the surrounding. Like what I'm saying is that I learned much more in my thing just by travel, and this will not entirely on education. So if you want to do that, you don't have to spend like crazy amount of money taking loans, selling your houses and farms and everything to do that, and taking and what do you say? You can do it even by doing short programs, 3-4 months or 6 months programs that are quite available. Get exposed if you want to come back to India.
Okay.
But people, if they have an agenda to work abroad and live there, then obviously you need masters. That's a different trajectory altogether. But if you're talking purely in education terms, I think we have some really good universities, so we don't have to go abroad. Yeah.
And what advice do you have for someone who wants to become an architect? What should they what should they look out for?
Architecture, like I said, is one of those beautiful and creative professions where, like I said, uh, the spectrum is quite vast. At a public level, you can be a public servant, working on at a urban level problems, catering to like even be a diplomat if you want to at an urban level, to even like making buildings and furniture, even digress into fashion, other creative professions as well. I know architects who have turned musicians, so the spectrum is quite vast. Sorry, and like I said, the spectrum in which if you do architecture, when you come out as a creative, you can do quite a bit in the spectrum, and it's your imagination and what you do is going to be the limit. So you can be absolutely technical and doing some energy simulations or whatever, like highly complex mathematical problems. On one side, you are highly creative, you have no sense of mathematics at all, and you are just working on purely creative instincts. It can cater to both.
Okay.
So it can cater to both, like your artistic ability and also your scientific expertise and skill set. So my advice is that uh, uh, if somebody wants to become a great architect or an urban designer or even a town planner, to, like I said, even and enter into civil services, become a town planner further, you can even progress your career into that. Or on the other side, you want to become an interior designer, a furniture designer, a product designer, or you want to do something with design in different spectrums, or even pick a career in music, arts, whatever. This is a good possibility that you get being an architect.
This just opens up like the world for you.
It opens up the world for you because once you are into this education of architect, you don't have to be necessarily be an architect after you graduate. It gives you a strong degree on your this thing. You have a degree which is your strong qualification, saying that you have a career, and it's a strong complement, like I said, for both arts and science. It's that intersection. Because if let's say you're taking a career in arts or an education in arts, you have arts background. I'm not saying I'm not well versed with it, so I will not say it is good or bad. But like I said, you have an arts degree. But with this, you have the potential to diverge into technical side and also art side. So I think that gives you that at a master's, a specialization level, that canvas or the opportunity to go either ways. So I would say that great possibilities once you do architecture. And but yeah, what do you say that one has to be like really motivated. I think that's the case with everyone who's into creative side of things, that the motivation should come from within, and to be a very creative person, like what do you say, the driving factor has to come from within.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Monish. It was so nice to have you. I learned so much personally, and looking at, hearing everything you said, I feel like maybe I should have pursued architecture at some point. It would have been so much of a learning for me.
Thank you
But
so much.
thank
for
you
having
very
me.
much.
Thank you so much for having me.